got me started. Throw me
Yeah, sorry.
Throw another
All right, we're
one.
gonna
I'll take one home to my kid.
have, bring us back into session, I guess, the meeting back into session. So we're at item number 7 under new business. It's a request for a bond release, PZ 2001-02-18, 1395 and 1405 Middletown Avenue, Brooks Pharmacy.
So we're actually continuing this because I need to visit it with the town
Okay.
engineer, so I'll
Okay.
carry that over to the next meeting.
It'll be the January 19th meeting.
A quick
Right.
question on this. Brooks Pharmacy? I mean, there's a name from the past. Is it still
You-
called that?
You can see the date, so it was from 2001, 2002. These are one of these old outstanding bonds that I've been trying to chip away at.
Oh,
This is Northford Center, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Right, so the
right.
reason why I have to continue is because, and we may have to continue it even to the spring, depending on what we see, but one of the conditions of holding the bond was that they do some vegetation work behind, what's it now, Rite Aid?
Yeah.
And I don't know if they did it or
Oh,
not,
okay.
but it may even be a moot point because it's been so long,
Okay,
so.
What's the time?
okay, so next,
How much?
under 8,
Doesn't Kurt usually attend and say they've met all the requirements?
He would write a comment sheet,
Okay.
right.
all right, number 8, adoption of the 2017 meeting schedule.
I make a motion, we adopt the 2017 meeting
Seen
schedule.
it, how come you
Yes, you
didn't?
did.
It's in the packet.
Oh, I didn't?
You didn't read
Oh,
the
yeah, I
packet?
did, okay. All right, go ahead, Fred.
I make a motion, we adopt the 2017 meeting schedule.
Second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll go with that meeting schedule. Okay, number 9, under Town Planners Report, we have under 9A, application, receipt, and scheduling regular meetings of the January 19th, February 2nd, 2017.
I don't have any,
Upcoming meetings.
new applications, but under B, I do have several items that I'm bringing to the commission just for discussion points, and I believe the property owners or potential applicants are here. So the first one, if we start with number 1, is 435 Foxen Road. I'm just gonna pass this down to everyone. So this is, you may be familiar with Dr. Soloway's old office building. So if you're on Route 80, just down from Duties, if you're heading towards New Haven, it's on the left. So the property is zoned residential. In, let's see, was it 2004, I believe?
2007,
2000
2004, and then 2004.
2004, it received a special use permit for a historical conversion. So I've attached in your packet the regulation about historical conversion. So brief summary, historical conversion is where a parcel is zoned residentially, but it can be used as a business. And it's to maintain the historical character and architecture of an existing building on the property. So that was granted for the building. They also, at that same time, proposed a slight expansion, adding 432 square feet to the existing building. So that was all approved. The current proposal that we're working with the new owner on is some kind of addition to the building, whether it's adding on to the building or maybe adding building a new accessory structure. So Tom Hogarty, the zoning officer, and I have been looking at those two options. And we wanted to discuss the whole situation with you and kind of get your take on what the commission would be looking for, but I'll let the new owner kind of weigh in at this
Yeah,
point.
hi, my name is John Castelvetro. I put a drawing here of what we're proposing to do, and we're looking to do a breezeway with a 900 square foot footprint garage. And I have everything if you want to look at it.
So the breezeway would connect the
It would
existing
connect to-
building with the
yes.
new structure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. So, where zoning comes in and makes it just a little gray is that, again, there's the underlying R40 zoning, but then the use is a historical conversion, which is a business use in a residential zone, which is allowed. Now, adding on to this building, the regulations would allow them to go up to 50% of the original footprint of the existing building, which would be, again, you have to look at the original footprint of the house before they got the approval to do the expansion. So it's around 885 square feet. The question for the commission is, would you be looking for a public hearing? And it seems like if it's an attachment to the existing building and they're adding on, do you want to treat that as an amendment to the existing historical conversion? Or, that's my recommendation.
Would that trigger a public hearing, the amendment to the historic conversion?
I would recommend one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think,
How far
for
do
me,
you go with,
intuitively, I think,
how far do you go with changing a historical site? I mean,
With adding on and,
yeah, I mean, it's only a long site, it's not a historical site anymore.
It's all vinyl sided and vinyl windows. The house.
Right.
The house has been completely redone. Has all vinyl siding and vinyl windows on it. It doesn't look very historical anymore.
you guys wanna see this?
Yeah.
So 900-foot garage, square foot
I mean,
garage,
that's what
that
the commission
Yeah, I
has
have
to
it- I have it
look
15 by
at.
60?
Excuse me?
15 by 60 garage,
No, it's a little bigger. It's
900 square feet.
actually, it's not as long.
The garage is a little bit smaller and there's a connected breezeway.
Oh, I thought it was a 900-foot garage.
The entire footprint of the breezeway and the garage would be approximately 900 square feet.
It
Now,
says
would
900
business
square
be
foot
going in,
garage.
or is it converting back to?
We're gonna run our business out of there.
It's a brand new building, right?
But the garage says 900 square foot garage, not including the breezeway.
It's a conceptual drawing.
Okay. It says 900 square foot garage.
Well,
The
yes.
garage is 900 square feet.
Well, our
Correct.
interpretation.
I think
If
Harry.
you take the entire footprint of that and actually measure it all out,
Okay.
including the breezeway, it's 900 square feet. And basically what we could gather from the zoning regulations that we were given is if we took basically 50% of the square foot
Yeah.
building
It's a
area,
two-bay garage, it looks like. Not- not the-
we were allowed up to 1,000 square feet of footprint space, and that's actually just slightly under the footprint space, is
Of
what
the
we're
original
proposing.
house.
Well,
It's
from
50%
the
of the
documentation
original
we have
house.
from the town, it doesn't actually say the original house, it just says from the structure.
Existing structure or something.
Correct, and this, including whatever additions over time have been added on, are part of the structure.
I see stairs in the concept. Is there going to be a second story in the garage for use?
There's a storage up there. We haven't determined what we're gonna do with that.
So I think Carrie looking to us for guidance on how we want to approach this for the next meeting, not to,
We have an elevation, if you look on the last page, of what it would look like from the street, which I think it's.
This matches the existing
Aesthetically
building.
very-
right?
Essentially, aesthetically to match the
Actually,
existing.
What type of business?
We're a contractor.
And I mean, you just want to explain that you have an existing business in town, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I've been in town for a long time. I own a few different properties on Route 80 already. I own where Beyond Waves is. I own Total Interiors. I also own where the Hidden Kitchen is. I own both those properties. So I've been here quite some time. My family's been here since '62, so been here a long time.
so what are the
And-
two options? Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
That's okay. So, because there's the historical conversion, it seemed to make sense to me for any changes to the property, especially in addition adding on, it would be, an amendment to the existing special use permit and have a public hearing. The other thing that I've outlined is, to amend the existing site plan for an accessory building. And where it gets really sticky is that on a residentially zoned property, you can have an accessory structure. On a business zoned property, you cannot. And on a residentially zoned property, you can't use an accessory structure for business use, for a home occupation business. But this falls under the historic conversion category, which is allowing for a residentially zoned property to be used as a business. So that's where it seems to make sense to amend the special use permit, have a public hearing, notify abutters, amend the site plan, and make sure that the square footage complies with the zoning regulations. And just looking at his work in town at the other properties, his properties are all kept very nicely. It seems like his intent is to do the same with this property as well. And match, we've talked about matching the existing
Absolutely,
exterior and siding. Our regulations don't require for historic provisions as far as, keeping with the character or style of the building, but it sounds like that's his intention anyway.
It's not a historical district where you have to meet
No.
certain building
Correct.
criteria.
And just to note, one of the things that the zoning officer and I looked at is because there is Duties, which is not right next door, but just one parcel away, and then there's this use and a few other businesses in that general area, we looked at maybe.
What about the house behind it?
Excuse me, wait, we'll have our turn. I just wanted to speak when we own the house beyond this.
Okay.
Oh. So just looking at Route 80 though, there are businesses there, so we looked at maybe rezoning. But that would not really work because it would be spot zoning, which doesn't work.
Is that the section of Route 80 that's designated for business development too?
Designated in the plan of conservation and development? No.
Probably down from past Tucket, maybe?
Yes. Right.
So, did you hear the idea of, what was your idea? I know that includes a public hearing.
Amending
Which I
the
was in favor.
special use, amending the existing special use permit. Having them file a special use permit with a site plan to show the proposal.
Then we trigger a public hearing and we could have public comment. For me, that seems to be the way to go, but it's my opinion. Anyone else have any
As far as you can see, we're on
other
the
opinions? Maybe?
So this is just the concept of making it, right?
Yes. It was to get your input regarding
How to proceed.
the application process, right?
Any other comments? Questions? Seem reasonable?
Public hearing it is.
Public hearing?
It still doesn't exceed any of the coverage requirements for the lot, right?
No, and that's the other interesting component is that because it's, again, an R40 zone, it has to comply with the zoning regulations for R40.
And with the current paving and what we're proposing, we're gonna be about 600 square feet approximately under the total coverage of the R40.
So it would still need a public hearing?
You're saying yes.
It's up to
Yeah.
the commission.
Okay.
You're looking to run a construction business out of this?
Yes.
Right.
They don't store any equipment outside, it's offices. Garage will be used for our tool workshop home. We don't own equipment, we're not excavators, we don't have bulldozers or anything like that. We're not putting fences up. It's gonna remain as is, it's just gonna be a little bit bigger. It's gonna look the same. And if you look at the pictures and all that, I mean, it's gonna be a nice building to look at from Route 80. We're not looking to make an eyesore at all.
Is there a building in the back there already?
No, there's a corn crib
Okay, yeah,
that I'm actually gonna restore,
okay.
and there's a chicken coop.
Is this a parking lot behind here?
That's existing.
Yeah.
The chicken coop?
No, the parking lot is not.
Yeah, the parking lot is
That's
existing.
correct.
It was converted to a doctor's
Yeah.
office.
It's
Yeah.
actually smaller than it shows on the A2 survey. He didn't make it the same size as it shows.
This existing garage, is that where the existing buildings are now?
The existing garage? I don't know.
Well, this proposed garage, that's where the corn crib or
The corn crib's over here. Actually, I have the A2 survey, right? So the corn crib is right here.
There is another garage on the property, right? Is that a neighbor's garage?
What's that?
You pointed this, and this is the corn crib?
This is a corn crib. Yes. And what else are you pointing at?
This one.
That's the neighbor's garage in the back.
It's just a garage.
You know what? That was an existing, that was a chicken coop that he had taken down.
Okay.
It's not
I
there.
remember seeing it going by.
Yeah, there's a chicken coop back in here somewhere. He doesn't show it. Actually, that was for breeding the chickens. This is a chicken coop historically. This is the building. And then if you look at the other drawing, we want to come off a little breezeway and build this garage. And actually, it looks really nice from the street. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in the town my whole life, so I'm not going to make a nice story.
That's what I was concerned about, construction company.
So, guys, I'm gonna reel you back in.
Yeah, why not?
Tonight,
Dump
tonight's
trucks.
not
No,
what
no,
it's
no,
about.
no.
We're looking for guidance on when they come back as an application. And I think when I hear it, I don't wanna put words in your mouth, but we're saying, have them file a special use permit, which will then trigger a public hearing, and then they'll come back and they'll present, and then we can look and get to the details of all the things we wanna know.
And we can hear
So-
from the neighbors too.
Yep, absolutely.
So
So
we can't speak
really
our
all-
concerns tonight, it's another night? Can we speak our concerns tonight?
It's not a
So this is not a public hearing.
hearing yet.
Right.
So we have to schedule a public
So
hearing.
tonight really is just to give them guidance on how to come back.
And encourage them to talk to each other, which we've tried.
Yep. So what I think we're proposing is we're asking you to file a special use permit, which
Okay.
would then turn a public hearing. The butters will be communicated, have the ability to come here and speak publicly for or against, ask questions. That'll be scheduled at a later date, obviously. It'll be published in the newspaper and all that.
Okay,
Okay?
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next.
Next is,
2340.
right, so this is another, just discuss, potential project for the commission to learn more about. So we have the, I guess, potential buyer of 2340 Foxen Road.
That is correct. Good evening. My name is John Gordioso. I'm a real estate broker in East Haven, Connecticut, and I am a close friend with Mr. Sisto Malillo. Many of you may know him. He has owned Save Discount for approximately 26 years. And he's almost. And he's done a lot in the community. So we had met with the, I believe it was Tom Cogswell, and also we had met with Tom Haggerty.
Haggerty, yep.
And basically, after we talked to them, they thought it was what we had planned to do. They thought it was a good idea, but they thought out of courtesy, our initial step should be maybe to come before you, just to sort of introduce ourselves and basically tell you exactly what we want to do. Up until recently, as I mentioned before, Mr. Sisto owned Save Discount, and this property is probably about 100 yards away, just a couple of doors away from Save Discount. So he, effective December 31st, he closed his shop, had a big sale, and I think it was in the paper, if I'm not mistaken, recently. And so now we are in the process of drawing up plans, and we brought them here this evening so you guys could take a look at them. just to review. They're in the initial stages, so obviously, we would come before you again at some point in time when we have formalized the plans. But his immediate goal is to move his operation, which was, he had retail, plus he had garden supplies and things of that sort. And now, basically, what he's going to do in his new operation is just basically stay with a garden center and maybe, you know, supplies and things of that sort. So, again, we have, why don't you bring them up, Sisto?
This is the existing property, which is approximately 0.7 acres, I guess. House is 76 years old. Looks a lot better on this. I mean, it's right next to Route 80 Lumber Rick's place, so, I mean, and it's the driveway going down to back to Metro Booth. And then I had a nice drawing made, but this is kind of what I want it to look like in the near future. And what I mean by near future, hopefully in the next year or so, and maybe even sooner, depending on how it goes and what I can do. But basically, here's the existing house with the breezeway. This would be in addition to the house of approximately about 2,300 square feet. The greenhouse is actually set back a lot more than you can see here. It looks like it's really close, but there's like a 20-foot walkway there, you know, between the greenhouse and the house. And basically, a lot of my flowers would go behind here and in the greenhouse. Okay, and then if I get the store built in the near future, because I really kind of want to open, I really kind of need to open by the spring to sell flowers. It'd be basically the house that, and a hose, you know, and I would make proper parking spaces to initially open probably without the addition right away, but I would want to get the greenhouse done, obviously, to keep the flowers warm at the beginning.
It should be mentioned that it's on 0.69 of an acre.
Yes.
And the square footage that would be allowed for coverage would be approximately 7,500 square feet, and based on the plans that we have or we will propose down the road, we're probably going to be around 4,500 square feet of coverage. So we're going to be well within the zoning requirements.
I think the greenhouse you drew here is like 2,300 square feet and approximately about the same for the addition.
So is the change from like a R1 to a B1?
I
No,
think it's a B2 from what I understand.
Yes.
It's a B2 zone?
Correct.
That's what we were told.
That's right.
Oh, it's currently a B2?
Yes.
Okay.
So the house was built in 1940, so as you
76.
mentioned, yeah, so, the zoning, or the house existed prior to zoning, prior to the parcel being zoned B2. So, right now the house is a legal, pre-existing, non-conforming. So they,
B2 zoning?
what's that?
That's business.
Business,
I get that.
and then, on the use chart, so retail or sale of goods and services is allowed, and it would just require a site plan application. So it would not be a public hearing. But, you know, again, meeting the requirements and the parcel's conforming, everything that you mentioned, that's what I had the same notes. So for coverage, you would definitely meet it if you're under the 7,500 square feet. And then also outside storage, you'd be allowed up to 10% of the parcel to be used as outside storage.
Which would be, okay, if I wanted to put something, yeah, I got it.
If you wanted to put any
Right.
inventory outside, that would be permitted, but it would not be allowed in the
But no
setbacks.
parts in the parking spaces?
I have a question, I don't know if it's possible with greenhouses, but is it gonna be a, like, not so nice, clear-looking log greenhouse like they all look, or is it possible to
Well,
match
it's,
it a little how it looks in the picture, or no, I don't?
I really have not like looked into more than just the average greenhouse with
Yeah.
the,
Or at
big
least the-
plastic, but it's gonna look nice, and it's gonna be, I mean, put plants on the outside.
No, I know.
I mean, it's gonna look,
There's a greenhouse right along 95 by the old toll. Those big.
yeah, by use of,
These-
yeah, but it's gonna look different than that.
I mean, the greenhouses.
Right. What do you, I'm not sure what you're saying there.
Once you say the style of the greenhouses, ones are right along 95.
Oh, there's so many different styles, so, yeah, there's the hoop houses you can make, and no, this is gonna be something where people can walk in and, you know how I get
The greenhouse
excited
have-
about everything.
They have Van Wilgens, that type of greenhouse.
I'm not familiar with that place.
Oh.
He's familiar with me.
Ah.
You know, so, yeah, no, I mean,
That would fall under the development fee. What they-
you know, and then I could start hiring high school kids again. We're stuck at 200 over 26 years.
A quick question, is a greenhouse outside storage?
Yeah, that's what I was,
Because it's not, it's working inventory, it's not storage.
Let's see, in our definition.
yeah, that was kind of,
And Easter is late this year.
it's the 19th, I think. You know, I know that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's
And a greenhouse, if it's not on a farm, so it's different. right?
One time we were 3 days after, 4 days after St. Patrick's Day. That was the earliest, like the 21st. That was like 5, 6 years ago.
I'm sure the town would like to tax you on that greenhouse, so rather than be open spaces or
I'll just go back to the parking
outside
space.
storage, I mean, you know?
So
If it's not a
here,
permanent structure, it gets taxed.
Yeah, right.
here.
so outside storage, including storage and/or display of merchandise, supplies, waste, machinery, equipment, and other materials not in an enclosed building.
All right.
And on the outside, manufacture. And on the outside, manufacture, processing, or assembling of goods, but excluding areas for the parking of registered motor vehicles in daily use.
What a greenhouse is enclosed.
So, right, so a greenhouse, I would not consider outside storage. I think outside storage would be carts or, if you're a landscaper with mulch and stone and tires and whatever else.
Flowers out
Saturday.
for display, that's outside storage.
Right,
Yeah, it was just-
right,
Bring them
because
outside
it's,
of the greenhouse. and-
right, because it's
It was hard.
inventory,
Let me tell you, it was terrible, but
so
So,
that would be fine.
26 years.
Are you looking for
for?
just guidance, like,
Yep, I
sounds
think,
good, makes sense?
I do
Like that?
come back.
I'm excited about it.
I think he wants to be a good neighbor, continue to be a good neighbor.
Great.
yeah. So site plan application,
Yeah.
where are you in the process as far as purchasing the property?
Well, this kind of makes the purchasing happen, so it's just a matter of, probably by the end of the month, I guess.
Probably
First of the month.
within 3 weeks or so.
Great. And I think Tom Hogarty mentioned this to you as well, but with the trees in front of the
I'm gonna call the
property.
state to see
So
if
right,
they can
so-
take them down, and maybe get in contact with Franny, because maybe he can give me some guidance on that too, and where to
Right.
go with that, because he said, no. I said, are those our trees? He goes, no.
Mhm.
So I said, but he said the state could possibly take them down, you know, which that part of it's just terrible, you know, and then I'm gonna take some trees around the house down just to make room, and,
Mhm.
you know, but we'll, as we go along, I'll make sure you guys know what I'm doing. You know, what else could I do, right? So, all right.
Good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is text amendments.
So the text amendments that we've been working on, I'm gonna ask for a little bit more time, because I'm looking to add one more component, which is kind of a big, it's not that big, but I'm having a hard time figuring out where to put it in, and I need to work with Attorney Young. So the additional change that I'm proposing to you is due to a recent court case that the town actually lost. It was just one part of it. I thought, I didn't realize that our regulations don't require the property owner to sign an application. So there was an appeal of a ZBA decision, and the town attorney said, well, the applicant isn't the property owner, and we don't have the property owner's signature on here, so you should just throw it out immediately. And the judge said, no, there's nothing in your regulations that requires the property owner to sign. So I think we should add that in,
Just sign what?
to sign an application.
An application.
Who's submitting it then?
Well, it could be a tenant. In this case, it was a tenant. So the tenant can claim, I have the right to do X, Y, and Z, but the property owner is saying, well, that's a separate issue, but the judge on that issue alone was saying, it's not in your regulations, so you can't win the case based on that. So,
So a tenant comes in with an application, the property owner would have to come to and
right, and sign,
The tenant
The
can come
official
in,
owner of the property.
right.
the actual owner.
the tenant can come in and request a demolition permit of the building, and he can get it without the landowner's signature.
So I just wanna, I'm recommending that we add that
Yeah.
to the amendment.
Good.
Can I add another item?
Sure.
So this is another one of these to run by you. 39 Valley Road. This is next to Van Wilgens.
Yeah.
There is a property, there's several properties, so this whole area, you can see by this map, I'm gonna pass it down.
Where are we, what's the property where's the
So-
property we're talking about right now?
Sorry, this one, the red
Closer to
one.
139 or farther away, close to the bridge?
So if you, turn onto Valley from 139, it's, immediately next to Van Wilgens, it's this house.
Yeah, okay, it's in
Yeah,
front of
yep,
Indulgence,
Yep.
A nice
So,
house.
there are a number of houses in that area. The zoning, however, is industrial. So this house in particular was built in 1998. They received approval. I don't see anything in the file where they got a special, they got a, use variance, which I think would be required
'Cause of
because
industrial.
residential is not allowed in industrial.
Mhm.
But it was approved, it was built. What they're looking to do now is they're renting the house, which is allowed, that's fine, but they're looking to build another unit on the bottom floor, so to convert the basement into another apartment. So it seems like, to me, they need to get a use variance for that apartment, but also because the owner doesn't occupy either unit. So I think they need to go to ZBA to get a variance, but with the other special use permits that have been reviewed, on Fowler Road, they come to planning and zoning first, get a report, then go to ZBA. If they are granted the use variance, then they come back for a site plan review, just to make sure that they have enough parking and would go through the building code, building compliance and review and East Shore Health.
So if this was a regular residential zone, though, would we allow them to put an apartment in?
Is it considered an apartment or a duplex now?
Well, it would be multifamily, right?
Multifamily.
We only allow multifamily in a business zone,
So, yeah, so.
But this is industrial.
and this
This
is
is an
industrial. And the interesting,
Hmm.
this is another one where I've looked at, should we look at rezoning some of those, because there are a number of homes that are there that exist in an industrial zone. And for every change that they wanna make, they have to go get a variance.
But all those houses prior, closer to 139 were there before, it probably became industrial, right?
Well, I'm talking about the ones on Valley Road.
Valley.
So
Yeah,
like
so
this
am I.
one was built in 98.
Yeah, but the ones before that are all older houses. I mean, real old.
This one, I don't think the next one, I don't think that's old.
Yeah, there's a.
I mean, the ones, there's a couple
These
like
are the ones that I'm talking about. I'm talking
Alright.
about this one and then the ones across the street that I've
across the street.
kind of highlighted.
Yeah.
And I don't know that a zone change makes sense, but I'm just, again, looking at other options out there. And maybe it's really just maybe they wouldn't want a zone change. Maybe they wouldn't want
Yeah.
to become residential, but
Rose's,
just,
Rose's Orchard is industrial.
yes.
Rose's Orchard's been there for 200 years.
Farming's allowed in any district.
And then they built his parents a house, that's the other one there. That log cabin, I think, right? That's an industrial zone, you got a permit for that, that's a fairly new one, right?
Again, all of the homes were built with permits, but they were done so with a variance.
All right,
So I think
Let's
for
go back
this
to
one,
Valley.
I'm
Valley
going
Road.
back to this
Valley Road.
specific house, they could try for a variance. And I just wanted to, you know,
yeah,
I mean, to your
I don't-
point though, they would have to come here first, so
Well,
they could start the process.
I prefer.
They were just in here yesterday though, so.
Variance than zone change, only because
Yeah.
we wanna
I
keep,
do a zone
we gotta
change
keep
there.
industrial,
Right.
even though it's probably gonna be a house for a long time.
Well, if those were changed from industrial to business, it wouldn't be a problem, right?
The multifamily?
Any of those houses. We allow housing in business areas, right?
Right.
Or they get a variance, so.
If you change out of industrial, we don't have an awful lot of industrial
Yeah, that's
property.
exactly it.
And even though there's houses there, and they could be there for 20 years, way down the road,
My exact point.
You can have a single-family detached dwelling in a B2 zone and a B3 zone, but you cannot have it in a B1 zone. So you can have it in a B2 zone with special permit.
so let them, it's industrial, just let them go for a variance
What's your,
and leave the zone alone.
what's the comment about down the road?
Well, you know,
So-
everything isn't today. 20 years from now, we don't have a lot of industrial sites in this town. Supposing somebody comes in and 20 years from now, they're gonna buy that whole area. And they're gonna, because it's industrial, means that they could put something in there that would be a benefit to the town rather
Tax
than
benefit.
another house. So why change it?
Okay.
Let them go for a variance.
That is my exact point. I concur.
Okay, so we'll see it again as a,
Anyone,
as a report.
anyone else have any comments? Does that seem reasonable?
Well, in light of your point about the court case, is the person putting in the application the property owner?
Yes, good question.
Good question.
Yes. Although he's not living there. Yes.
Have them sign.
Yes, exactly. No, good question.
Okay, that's what we'll do.
Okay. And then the other two items that I just have are, there's the Regional Planning Commissioners Dinner. I think, Bill, you were interested in going. Is there anyone
I
else
still
who,
can.
are you planning on going, Fran? It's next Thursday, the 12th.
Oh, yeah, I already told
Oh, okay.
Eugene I was going. It's a Bellini's.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do they cover your cost, do you know?
pretty sure they do.
Okay. Well, if anyone else is interested, just let me know, and the town would be able to cover the costs.
What
So-
is it? I hear food, my ears.
I'll give this to you, it's a dinner. And the topic
good
is
topic.
10 ways to lose an appeal, legal issues all planning and zoning commission should be aware of. And the person who's speaking is one of the planning and zoning members in Branford, Charles Andres. He's well-known throughout the state for his land use law.
And there's that other one that you
Just-
sent an email on?
Yes, the
In
31st, 30th,
It's in Hartford.
yes.
I'd like to go, but I'd like to travel with somebody.
Okay, I'll drive you.
Okay,
Yep,
then I'll go.
okay, great.
Because it really looks like it would be interesting.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
good.
Good, I can't go.
Yeah, so that was the other
I go
thing.
every time.
Yeah, I can't. I gotta go. I gotta go work.
Okay, that was everything.
All right. Fran, do you think?
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.